I'm Jocelyn Zuckerman. I'm the articles editor of On Earth magazine, and I just got back from 10 days in Africa, beginning in Dadaab, which is in northeastern Kenya, near the Somali border where the refugee camps are, and then in Nairobi, and then over to Accra, Ghana. I went to do a story about climate change, urbanization, and urban agriculture. My focus was in real slum areas where they don't have a lot of land. In fact, they don't own any land at all, so they're either doing it in little sacks near their shacks or finding little plots of land, say, out by the highway or under electrical wires where nobody's going to build buildings and where they can just find a little scrap of land to grow some vegetables. Dadaab is a refugee camp where people are coming because they're losing their livelihoods because of drought, climate change in a larger context. Last fall, the rains failed. They generally get 2 big rains a year, and then in the spring, they failed again. So it was this back-to-back calamity. This is a phenomenon that's happening across sub-Saharan Africa. Farmers and pastoralists are being displaced from their land because of drought, and they're moving to the cities in unprecedented numbers. Part of it is also a political problem in Somalia, that al-Shabaab are hoarding food and trying to keep people from moving down to the refugee camp. Where I was in Dadaab, which is the refugee camp, that's mainly people coming down from Somalia. They can't survive there. I mean, they were dying in Mogadishu. They were dying in the countryside between Mogadishu and Kismayo is the city in between. So they were just walking to try to get to these refugee camps because there's no food, there's no water. Many of them dying along the way, their children dying along the way, their animals dying along the way. We visited the pediatric ward in one of the camps run by the International Rescue Committee. In the pediatric ward, there were 30 beds with moms with their infants. They're mostly children under 3 years old, all dealing with malnutrition, many of them with IVs in their arms or taped to their heads. The doctor said that, they were in various awful states, and she said that they'd been malnourished for so long that their organs were just shutting down on them. So I visited Accra, Ghana, in West Africa, because I had read about how they're really working with the local government on regulating the use of wastewater for urban farming, because there too, the infrastructure for clean water is just not there. The farmers there are using water from either sort of gutters, or there's a stream near this one farm that I visited, which starts out as clean water, but all the households along the way are dumping their household water from dishes and laundry. So we were driving around this refugee camp, and we saw this sort of green area and pulled up and met this gentleman named Yusuf Muhammad, who lives there, and he's next to a public tap that's available for the refugees. And a German aid organization had actually found him. They were looking for people who had backgrounds in farming. They found him and helped him with shovels and seeds. And he dug a little gully from where the water sort of spills over when people are filling their jugs, and then down to a big ditch. So he had this sort of maybe 4-foot wide ditch that was filled with pretty brown, muddy water, but it's water. And he was using that. He had a plot of land, I would say it was 15 feet by 15 feet, all manner of fruits and vegetables growing there that he just waters. He'll get a bucket and fill it up in that ditch with just the water that's run down from people filling their jerry cans. And that's how he's growing all this food.